Let's have a look into marketing now. It's a tremendous switch from SEM to agentic commerce. Some important questions not only marketeers may have right now, how to stay relevant in that new match. And here comes the answer. Please welcome the Vice President, Global Media, Continental Europe from Microsoft AI, Masha Driesen. Masha, welcome.
So good morning, everyone. While everyone is taking their seat, good morning. It's really my pleasure to be here with you today because I get to talk about two of my favorite topics. The one is marketing, the other one is generative AI, and that in the context of travel and hospitality. So, as I've been working for the last, let's say, more than 15 years for large global tech companies like Google, YouTube, and now Microsoft, I always envisioned what the future would look like. What would it be? But I had to redefine my frame of reference constantly because the innovations went so fast. Because large global tech companies have democratized AI in a way that is instantly accessible and intuitive to use for everyone. So my name is Masha Driesen. And are you ready to take off, to take a little bit of a deep dive into what we're doing with AI and with our exclusive partnership with OpenAI? And the lineup has been perfectly because the previous speaker talked about generative AI and how fast it's going and how fast the developments are going. Well, you can see here a graph of previous innovations, which we thought was going fast, right? The internet, smartphone, cloud. But if you look at the adoption curve of generative AI, that is really going steep, right? So the adoption is high, not just from consumers, but also from businesses. And we see that. We are using it in the millions. So it's really going fast, and that also represents a huge opportunity for all of you in the travel and hospitality environment. So let me bring it just a little bit closer to home, something that you may experience. As 80% of workers actually acknowledge that they're already until here, right? They have a lot of work. They agree they actually lack enough time or energy to do even more. So 80% of workers are sharing that. At the same time, 53% of business owners and leaders actually agree that the productivity must increase. So that's, of course, the productivity paradox. And that's what we're seeing across the board. We're expected to do more, but we can't do more. But that's, of course, where AI steps in. Because with AI, which has been there for a much longer time, and we're talking about generative AI, which is more since 2023 when we launched it with OpenAI and JetGPT and Copilot for Microsoft. So this is making businesses more efficient. Employees are faster, processes are more smooth, and clients are more engaged, and there's higher client satisfaction. You can see that the ROI of every dollar or every euro, whichever you're calculating with, is actually bringing us a 3.7x ROI. So every investment, you will get it back. And it's not just in marketing, right? It is in your processes, in efficiency, in your company. So what we see is that at the same time, the industry is transforming. And actually in travel and hospitality, you can see that 92% of companies are planning to increase their AI investments over the next 3 years. That's a lot. It's not surprisingly, but it actually confirms what we're already seeing in our closer environment. The hard numbers that are coming out of travel and hospitality companies that have deployed it, we see that adoption rate really going up. And perhaps one of the greatest opportunities is the 97% of people that actually want to have one super app where they can actually plan their end-to-end travel. That's 97% of consumers that actually want that. So for leaders in this space, AI is, of course, becoming a competitive advantage. You're driving efficiency, you're driving growth, you have a stronger brand perception. So as I'm saying, generative AI is transforming the travel and hospitality industry, not just that, but several industries, and it's making us more efficient, more productive, because we can create more personalized journeys at scale Because the real marketing revolution is, of course, in personalization, and that's being driven by generative AI. AI helps create deeper connections with your customers because you can do that in a really personalized way at scale. So I brought a little bit of a video where you can see what it does with companies, and these are just a few examples because there's many more examples in the travel and hospitality world.
AI, enabling innovation. Generative AI is transforming travel and hospitality, building a future with more efficient operations and improved employee experiences that ultimately create more personalized and connected customer journeys. With cloud and AI-enabled solutions powered by Microsoft, that future can be achieved today. Travel providers are becoming more agile, insight-driven organizations that can proactively respond to customers, improving overall satisfaction. And real-time access to information helps frontline workers better manage potential travel disruptions by applying data and AI to streamline operations. With AI-driven personalization, you can anticipate your travelers' every need. From assisting with trip planning or transforming experiences on property, AI helps create deeper connections with your customers and builds hyper-personalized end-to-end experiences. Energize the evolution of travel and welcome a new era of unique travel experiences.
So this is Mustafa Sulaiman. He is from Microsoft AI, basically my boss. And what he says, and I'm completely behind that quote, is that we're creating an AI companion for everyone, which we call Copilot. We've had an exclusive partnership with OpenAI, which is, of course, also from ChatGPT, since 2019. We started to invest in AI in 2014 already. 2019, we had this deal. And since 2023, we launched generative AI. And since then, a lot of things have changed. And what he means with this quote is that it's not about what's under the hood. We are using technology about how it makes you feel. Because as a consumer, but even as a business, you shouldn't care about the technology. You shouldn't care about what we're building. You should care about how it makes you feel and what you can do with it. So you can let us handle the technology because it's more important on how your clients are feeling and what you're feeling and what you can do with that technology. So for us, our generative AI is what we call Copilot. It's not a pilot because it's not in a driver's seat, but it's a Copilot. So it helps us kickstart. It's always easier to start than from a blank sheet of paper. It's embedded in all of our products and services, whether you're using Excel or PowerPoint or Teams or Outlook or Edge or any of our products, LinkedIn or Xbox or any of our Activision Blizzard King titles. Copilot is included and it makes your life much more easier. So you can recognize it by this logo, and it's actually becoming and has become the user interface of all of our products because it helps us kickstart. I can't think of a world anymore where I'm not using Copilot because it makes me so much more productive and it makes me look good in areas where I actually am not very a specialist, right? Or I need to write a really good email in English, which is not my native language because I'm from the Netherlands. But still, it's the words, it's the finesse that Copilot can help me with. So what we saw is that the journey of a consumer, where they're searching for something, that has changed. So it was a system that was giving us a lot of information, a lot of blue links if you type in a keyword. But actually, it wasn't good enough anymore for what consumers are expecting. So that's where we launched Copilot in February 2023, so already 3 years ago, a little bit more. And we have been serving also advertising in Copilot ever since. So we have been learning a lot. The previous speaker also said if someone tells you they know it all, they're probably trying to sell you something. Well, we don't know it all, right? We're learning still every day because things are going so fast and we're launching features and dashboards every day.
Can you find a place to paddleboard close to work that has afternoon rentals? I recommend AdventureWorks. Should I book it for you?
If it's sunny, let's try for next Wednesday, after work.
It looks like it'll be a sunny 98 degrees, so I've booked paddleboarding next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
How you like me now? How you like me now? How you like me now?
Which of these hotels is walkable to the beach and has a kitchenette?
This has the shortest walk to the beach and has a full kitchen. It's available for your dates. Would you like to book it?
Yes.
So one may think is that the journey is getting shorter. That okay, this co-pilot or any agent is giving me one answer, right? And how can I be there? I brought some stats which actually shows the opposite, which is good news for everyone here, of course. So co-pilots helps people learn things at greater speed. Because browse and search has been there for a very long time, but consumers are actually expecting more. Right? From 71% is learning more, you can be more creative, you can be faster, more efficient. So I brought one case from Air India. So they actually put a Copilot plugin into their website, which made that they could actually link natural language with operational data. And that helped their internal back office to just use natural language with a large language model to leverage those data even better. And it also had the side effect that there was a lot more cross-collaboration between teams. So this is really an internal case for Air India. And you see what it delivered to them, right? It reduced the operational cost, it streamlined decision-making, and it even improved customer satisfaction because they were helped much more faster. So the usage in the industry is already very high, and you see a 142x increase for people that are putting one or more skills that is AI related to their LinkedIn profile. Of course, we have the stats because LinkedIn is also a Microsoft company for those that didn't know. And actually, LinkedIn also predicts that by 2030, 70% of LinkedIn users, the skills that they're using have evolved, and many of those are being driven by AI. So a lot is changing, and we see that on the spot on LinkedIn on profiles. So if we talk about content, it's no surprise that 60% of content creators are already using AI and generative AI. And also marketers, 85% of marketers are using generative AI to create content, which can be writing, of course, it can be visual storytelling, it can be content creation. And a company that did also something like that, which is Holland America Line. So they developed a virtual agent, which they implemented into their website, and they did it with Microsoft Copilot Studio. And with that, they could service existing and new clients. So with Microsoft Copilot Studio and the agent, the virtual agent that they built into their website, they reduced the inbound call volume, they increased the conversion rates, and also they streamlined the content maintenance. So a lot more efficient. So what does AI-powered personalization actually mean for marketers in travel and hospitality? Because if this consumer journey has been changing so much, how can you still reach them? How can you make sure that this agent or this generative AI or ChatGPT or Copilot or anyone that you're using, that they're actually coming up with your hotel or your flight or your brand? So personalization is here very important, because the future of personalization is intrinsically linked to the future of AI, because AI enables us to do personalization, but then at scale, because otherwise it would be too costly, obviously. So if we talk about personalization, multimodality is important there. And what is multimodality? It basically means from one input to any output. So from writing to vision, or from speech to writing, or to image, or to video, so from anything into anything. And I brought a small video to show you on what's already possible today, and actually this is a bit of an old video, old in the terms of generative AI era, but it shows you what already can be done. So let's roll the video.
All right, let me ask the agent here.
Hey, Seth, how's it going?
What can I help you with today?
I am fantastic. I'm sorry, I'm in such a hurry. I'm going to go on an overnight camping hike where we're camping all this. It's going to be dark, cold. Should I use these shoes? It's the mountains. It's probably going to be cold.
Great, no worries. Let me take a look. Ah, those are the Trek Star hiking sandals. While they're fantastic for summer hikes and keeping your feet cool, they might not be the best choice for cold
Oh my goodness. So,
mountain
okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Pick the best thing that I should use, and can you just add it to my cart? Just one product.
No worries. Let's go with the Trek Ready hiking boots. They're durable, provide great ankle support, and most importantly, they'll keep your feet warm in the cold mountains. I'll add them to your cart now.
Oh,
ready for checkout?
I see that. Amazing. Muchísimas gracias. Espero que me vaya bien en el campamento.
De nada, Seth. Disfruta de tu campamento y mantente caliente con esas botas. Buena suerte y diviértate en las montañas.
Of course, this is specifically for the Spanish-speaking in the audience. No, I'm joking, because we just want to show that it can also switch languages. So what has changed for marketing and advertising? Well, actually a lot. If you look at the whole journey of advertising and marketing, you can see that AI, but also generative AI, is already being used in every stage. Which is no surprise, because AI has been here already for a longer time. It's good in spotting patterns and making connections. But generative AI really took off in the whole marketing funnel and in the whole marketing journey for a marketer. So, and if I tell you that actually 40% of searches result in a clickback, so whatever search engine you are, you can see that 40% of searches, so you type in a keyword, right? And you get this list with all kind of these blue links. And then 40% is actually going back to the search engine. And why is that? Because people expect more. They don't want to go to every time to click this blue link, see and find on the website what they want to find, and then go back and type in other keywords and kind of refine. That's an era that's behind us. So since we launched our generative AI solution within the search engine of Bing, we see the huge uptake and we see a huge growth, obviously, but also it teaches us more about consumer behavior. This was launched in 2023, and we really revolutionized search, and this has been changing ever since. So yes, search has been changing, and let me give you a little bit of an example, because if I am saying Paris, 4 people, art, sports, you're probably looking at me on, what is she doing, right? Is she talking to me in keywords? But actually, I can use just natural language to ask a question what I actually want, right? So we've changed search from this into this. And I'm sure you're having your minds blown, because this is just a bigger box. But this seemingly small change actually drives a big change, because it invites people to put in full sentences instead of just keywords. We as humans have been conditioned to talk in keywords. We shouldn't do that anymore. We can just talk to it like you're talking to a specialist or a friend or anyone else. Just talk your natural language. So to get back to my example, if I'm, for example, planning an Easter getaway with my husband and 2 adult sons in Paris, we're foodies, we love art and sports activities, and please provide a 2-day itinerary for Saturday and Sunday. If you look at the left-hand side, it would probably require me even more of kind of these queries, because it's keywords, and I need to go back and forth and kind of make my own itinerary. But I can also ask Microsoft Copilot or any chat. And this is what it looks like. I did it on my mobile. So I'm asking the question, and it gives me a recommendation. Copilot gives me this recommendation. Of course, it's a Copilot. It doesn't decide for me, so I can make changes here, obviously. But at least it gives me a little bit of a kickstart. I can change it, and I can say, okay, but I don't want this activity to be more than 5 minutes walking from my hotel, or find me a flight that we're landing in the morning instead of in the afternoon, etc. So this is what I can do, and I can enrich it by even asking deeper questions. I didn't even know that you can just rent a court at the Roland Garros in Paris. You can actually do that, so now I know that. So AI in the travel and hospitality decision journey is really changing things. So how do consumers in travel and hospitality, how do they actually search? Well, they discover by just asking questions. But also it impacts, right? You need to audit and refresh as an owner of a website. You need to target solutions-oriented and purchase queries. You need to structure content with clear categories. And you need to use scheme markup. We did some research because if we look at holiday packages, actually 50% of consumers are already using AI with highly concentrated usage of various AI tools, so not just one. And actually, this is what I referred to in the beginning. The journey of using AI versus not using AI is still 20 days. So the median of searching is still 20 days. So it's not shorter, but what's even more surprising is that it's not shorter, but in that same time frame, 20 days on average for a package holiday, there are 88 connections with AI instead of just 55 not with the AI. And even more so, it's more intense because there's more page views, so people go more deep. And it seems to spark curiosity, so people are going more deep. So that's the good news. So then we also looked at when in this journey of 20 days are consumers using an AI. And for me, surprisingly, actually on day 0, which is the day of purchasing, it peaks. While you would expect it would be earlier. But on the day of peak, on the day of purchase, it peaks because people are validating prices, they're looking at restaurants or experience close by. So this is when they book, and it really peaks there. So what we just launched last month is an AI performance in Bing Webmaster Tools. And it actually is showing where and how content from your site is referenced as a source across AI experiences. So you also then know how to optimize, because you want to be taken into account, obviously, when a consumer is searching through an AI. So how Copilot in the Microsoft advertising is working is you can just ask your questions. If you have a campaign running, you can just ask your questions. And even deeper, if you want to optimize, you can just ask in your normal language, whether it's English or Spanish or any other language, you can use it there. And if you look at the various types of advertising, you can even see the cruise ads and the tours and activity ads. They have a much higher conversion rate if you compare that to normal search ads. So I also brought 2 cases. One is from Club Med, and they actually made a difference because they added a layer of AI behind the audience ads, and they saw a 2 times lower cost per booking just by adding AI and being more relevant. And the next one, even better, because Hurrah is the great agency, by the way, from Robinson, and they shifted to a full funnel approach for Robinson. And they've been using targeting ads, audience ads, video, and premium ads to reach net new travelers while reducing repeated exposure. And you can see actually the astonishing results there just by leveraging AI in their audience ads and going full funnel with that. So talking about the funnel is collapsing, right? You can see much more of those stages being compressed into one. So you better make sure that you're there to make sure that if people are buying and consumers are using generative AI, and they will do so more, that you are there. So the new search experience is accelerating. AI and search, they don't compete, they work together. Conversational AI is shaping the landscape. And also search sessions are really collapsing, as we have seen. Context is very important, because the better you feed an AI with context, the better the output will be. And I will play just a very small game with you, just so you can understand what the meaning of context is. So suppose you're all a generative AI, so you're a generative AI engine, and I show you this picture. So you can just shout out loud, what does this mean? Who sees something in this? Very good, very good. Maybe you saw it already, but you didn't have the context. But it's The Simpsons. So now that you have the context of Lego actually stands for a cartoon, I'm sure you can guess the next one. Yes, the Ninja Turtles, of course. So, and then one, just because it's funny, right? And you can't join anymore because you know too fast. What's this? South Park, of course. More people know. So this is South Park indeed. So just to understand, an AI, a generative AI, needs context. The more context you put in, the better the output is there. So what about AI agents? Just to summarize and as the last item, well, actually, 72% of consumers expect that agentic AI assisted buying experience are there in the next 12 months. So my personal agents, I ask them to shop and connect with the agent on your website. 72% of consumers already expect to get service like that. So the consumer behavior is shifting fast. What used to be just type, scroll, is now compare, refine, what type, scroll, compare, and refine is now ask and get. So it really goes fast. And that has some implications for you. So definitely would take a picture of this to make sure that you're ready for that. I brought the last example because scheduling travel is more and more where people do it together. So we just, last week, we actually launched co-pilot groups. So now you can invite others to actually do that together with you. And you see an example here for coordinating a trip. You just add people that you want to coordinate this trip together with, and then you can do it together. Quite easy, just launched last week in Copilot, so definitely encourage you to try that. And then lastly, just 3 key takeaways from today. The future of AI is the future of personalization because you can do it at scale. Context, as you've seen, is meaningful for personal connections, and the future is now, so don't wait, and AI is here to help. And if you want to know more, I would encourage you to scan that that QR code, because it's giving you a guide and a white paper for all that you need to know. Thank you very much.